Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Bhagavad Gita class. Let's begin with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Shabadhutam Parijan Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचलनिवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion on chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. So we are currently in the 13th chapter, which is talking about the nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. Okay, the concept of Jiva, Ishvara, and Prakriti. These three things are described here. And this is the first chapter in the Jnana Yoga section. Bhagavad Gita has total 18 chapters. First 6 chapters are Karma Yoga predominantly. And we can also say in the first 6 chapters, there is an enumeration of different kinds of yogic methods. Krishna is listing the different possible yogas with a short description. Like Karma Yoga, Shakam Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Karma Sannyas Yoga. These are all varieties of Karma Yoga only. Then Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, like that. Different kinds of yogic paths are enumerated, and also little bit bhakti is also mentioned. Then Bhakti Yoga is also another way. But predominantly Karma Yoga is explained very well. All other paths are enumerated. In the middle 6 chapters, chapters 7 to 12, these 6 chapters are dedicated to Bhakti Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga is described in great detail. What is Ananya Bhakti or pure devotional service, demigod worship, and actually different kinds of worshippers like Mayavadis who are Ahangraha Upashak, Devo Upashak, Vishwarup Upashak, all these things are described. And then in the last 6 chapters, starting from chapter 13 to 18, these 6 chapters are describing the Jnana Yoga predominantly. So Jnana Yoga means analysis. So the analysis part is starting, and this analysis is such analysis that will help us in bhakti. So in Bhagavad Gita, whenever we see karma and jnana, karma in the beginning, jnana at the end, and bhakti in the middle, like a sandwich. So in Bhagavad Gita, this karma and jnana part, they should help to deepen our bhakti. If we read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami, where Rupa Goswami elaborates on the science of devotional service, there is a book by Srila Prabhupada, Nectar of Devotion. Srila Prabhupada translated Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as Nectar of Devotion. So in this book, Rupa Goswami defines what is pure devotional service. And Rupa Goswami says, Anyavilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanamritam anukulyena krishnano shilanam bhaktiruttamam. So, in this verse, it is mentioned Anya avilashita shunyam. What is the definition of pure devotional service? Anya avilashita shunyam. Shunyam means devoid of. One should not have any other material desires. Any other material desires. What does it mean? That means one can only have one desire, that is to serve Krishna. Other than this, one cannot have any other desire. If you have any other desire, it's fine, but you will not be called a pure devotee. So, Anya Avilashita Shunyam, a pure devotee will not have any other desire other than serving Krishna. He will not have a desire for sense gratification or gratifying his own senses. He is doing everything for Krishna. And then Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. His devotion should not have the impurities of Jnana and Karma. This is a very important thing. Rupa Goswami says that Jnana and Karma, their impurity in Bhakti. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. His devotion should be uncovered by Karma and Jnana. So what does it mean? Actually, Karma and Jnana can be impurity also. And on the other hand, it can help also in devotional service based on the usage. So basically, Karma and Jnana, they represent the tendency for bhukti and mukti respectively. Karma means generally karmi, or one who is trying to enjoy this world. He is called a karmi. He is working day and night to enjoy the senses in this world. Such a endeavor in karma is impurity. When you are working hard to enjoy your senses, that becomes an impurity in bhakti. But the same thing, if you work hard for Krishna, it becomes helpful in your devotional service. Similarly, jnana, if you are simply mental speculating, you are becoming a Mayavadi, or you are realizing Aham Brahmashmi, and you are then rejecting all different activities, karma tyag, by Jnana Yoga. So if one is doing that, he will become a dry philosopher. And he may end up in Brahmajyoti, but Krishna does not recommend that at all. If you remember, in Bhagavad Gita 12.5, Krishna told, Klesho adhikata rastesham abhyakta ashakta chetasham abhyakta hi gatir dukkham deha vadviravapyate. Krishna says, if you follow the impersonal path, if you follow this Jnana Yoga and meditating on the impersonal Brahman, mental speculation, this path is very, very troublesome. You will attain success with great trouble. And Srimad Bhagavatam goes one step higher. Srimad Bhagavatam says, by executing such trouble, even if you attain that success, you attain Brahmajyoti, you have to fall down again. Aruhya krichena param padam tata patanta dhona dritayushmadangrayam yennera vindaksha vimuktamaninas tayyasta bhava sabishuddha buddhaya aruhya krichena param padam tata patanta dhona dritayushmadangrayam. So if someone is not having adar or affection towards the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, Jushmadangraya means two personalities are there, Radha and Krishna. Jugal Charana, your lotus feet. So they are telling that if you do not have affection for the lotus feet of the Lord, if you are not a devotee, then even if you take the troublesome path of Jnana Yoga and you attain Brahmajyoti, you have to fall down again. Okay. So if someone is cultivating knowledge or practicing Jnana Yoga, they can become a dry philosopher, mental speculator. So these are called the impurities in bhakti. But the same Jnana, if you apply that Jnana to know about Krishna, to read the scriptures, and you do not do mental speculation, but you follow the explanation given by the acharyas, then that Jnana can be helpful in devotional service. Just like Krishna says, Bahunam janmana mante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sha mahatma shudurlabha. So after many, many lifetime, a matured Jnani becomes a devotee. He will surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So this Jnana helps one to surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So what we learned, what is the summary? The summary is this: jnana and karma, according to Rupa Goswami, can be impurity in bhakti, but this can be helpful in bhakti as well. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining the karma and jnana in such a way that it is conducive to bhakti. Okay, so with that understanding, we are studying this Jnana Yoga chapters, like chapter 13 to 18. So here different things will be analyzed. Just like we're analyzing the universe, we are analyzing the science of life, how this world is working, how this universe is functioning. So three very important components are there: nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. So the nature is Jada Prakriti, material nature. Enjoyer refers to the spirit soul. Enjoyer can also refer to the supreme enjoyer, the supreme Lord. Consciousness can also refer to the soul, and consciousness can also refer to the supreme soul, super soul. So this nature, enjoyer, consciousness is basically Ishvara, Jiva, and Prakriti. Jiva means the spirit soul, Prakriti means the material nature, Ishvara means the supreme Lord. So how they are related? The supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything. Bhuktaram yagyatapasham sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatmamam shantrivichati. The supreme Lord is all pervading. He is the proprietor of everything. He is there inside every living entity's body as Paramatma. He knows everything. The definition of absolute truth is given in great detail in Srimad Bhagavatam, first verse. Janmadasya jatanvayaditarataschaर्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरया तेजो वारिमदं यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं satyam param dhimahi. So different attributes of the Supreme Lord, of the Paramatma, is spoken here. The first definition, the first characteristics of Paramatma is Janma Dasya Jatanvaya Ditaratascha Artheshu Avijnaswarat. Janmadi Ashyataha, from whom everything emanates. Same thing is spoken in Bhagavad Gita also. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava shamanvita. From Krishna everything comes. Krishna is the absolute truth. Janma dasya yataha anvayat itaratascha artheshu abhignya. The next feature of the Supreme Absolute Truth is he is cognizant of everything happening within the entire creation, not only material creation, but also spiritual creation. Entire creation, he is cognizant of everything. The Supreme Lord knows everything. He is there inside every atom. एकोप्यसौ रचयितुं जगदण्डकोटिं यच्चक्तिरस्ति जगदण्डचयाय दन्तः अण्डन्तरस्थपरमाणुचयन्तरस्थं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. So he is there inside every atom. He has the information of every atom of this universe. Not only this universe, but there are millions and billions and trillions of material universes. And there are trillions of spiritual planets. He knows everything. And then the third feature is Swarat. Krishna is Swarat, supremely independent. Krishna does not depend on anyone. Itaratascha artheshu abhigna Swarat, tene brahma hridaya adikavayam muhyanti yat surayam. He is the one who imparted the first Vedic knowledge unto Brahmaji. And by his illusory energy, all the demigods are put to illusion. So like that, there are so many characteristics spoken. So this is the definition of the Supreme Lord or Paramatma. Paramatma knows everything. He is residing in every body. And what is Jivatma? Jivatma is part and parcel of the Paramatma. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana manasasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. So this verse explains. This is in the 15th chapter. Yeah. Yes. So in this verse, Krishna says about the Jivatma. The Jivatma is Mamaiva Amsha, Krishna's part and parcel. And they are struggling in this material world to enjoy their senses. Okay. And what is material nature? Material nature is the energy of the Supreme Lord. Material nature is called Mahamaya. Srishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti reka chaye vajasya bhuvanani vivarti durga ichhanurupam api yasya chechtatesha govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So this Durga Devi or material nature is working under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. In Gita also same thing is spoken. Mayadhakshena prakriti shuyate characharam etunanena kvanteya jagadvi parivartate. So Mayadhakshena prakriti, Krishna says, under my adhyakshana, under my supervision, this material nature or prakriti is working. So prakriti means whatever we see surrounding us, everything is happening automatically. It seems so, but actually it's not. It's already programmed by Krishna. This material nature is a software written by Krishna. Therefore, it seems to be working automatically. But Krishna is supervising this. So these are the three things which are explained in this chapter. And we already discussed that the Jivatma can only desire, Paramatma will sanction, and the material nature will execute. Even for simple things like lifting a glass of water, the Jivatma can only desire to lift the glass. It cannot, because the Jivatma or the soul does not have any control over the body. The soul is on the spiritual platform, the body is in the material platform. The component of the spirit soul is very different from this material body. This material body is made up of gross elements like earth, water, fire, ether. But the spirit soul is made up of Satchidananda, spiritual components. So they are in completely different dimensions. So the soul cannot control the body. Now, how we are moving our limbs and how the spirit soul is controlling the body. Paramatma is the person who is bridging the gap, this dimensional gap between material body and spirit soul. That is Paramatma. So inside every body there is Jivatma also and Paramatma also. So whenever Jivatma desires to do something, Paramatma sees the track record of the Jivatma, the karma, and based on that track record, Paramatma sanctions that activity. After being sanctioned by Paramatma, it goes to material nature. And material nature is in control of everything material in this world. Everything is controlled by Durga Devi, Mahamaya. So our material body is controlled by Durga Devi. After Paramatma sanctions our desire, it goes to Durga Devi. And then Durga Devi moves the limbs of our body. This is how everything is functioning in this world. Okay. So in chapter 13, such analysis is happening. Arjuna is asking about 6 things: Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragya, Jnanam, and Jnayam. 6 things. First is Prakriti, Purusha. Prakriti means material nature. Purusha means the enjoyer. Jivatma is also the enjoyer. Paramatma is the supreme enjoyer. Okay. Kshetram. Kshetram is the field of activity, the body. Kshetragnya means the knower of the field of activities. That means the spirit soul. But there is another kind of Kshetragya, that is Paramatma. So both the spirit soul and the super soul, they are called Kshetragnya. What is the difference? The Jivatma or the spirit soul knows the information about his own field, his own body. But the Paramatma knows the information of all the different fields existing in the entire creation. Okay, so that is Kshetragnya. What is Jnanam? Jnanam is knowing this interaction between Kshetra and Kshetragnya. Another definition of Jnanam Krishna gave. So many important qualities Krishna mentioned. And all those positive qualities, cultivation of all those qualities are called Jnanam. Very important verse. 13th chapter, 8 to 12. All the important, interesting, positive qualities, divine qualities are mentioned here. Amanityamadam vitvam ahimsa shantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham sthiryam atma vinigrahah indriyartheshu vairagya manahankar evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam आसक्ति अनभिष्वंग पुत्रदार गृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्वत्वाम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वाम् अरतिरिजानसंसदि आध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वाम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् Etajnanam iti proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. And what is ajnan? Ajnan is reverse, opposite of these qualities. Cultivation. So cultivation of these qualities is jnanam. And if you are doing something by which something opposite is happening, that means you are engaged in the cultivation of ignorance. If these qualities are manifesting within you, whatever you are doing, then you are cultivating knowledge. And if the reverse qualities, opposite qualities are being manifested, then you are cultivating ignorance. As simple as that. Gayam means the object of knowledge. The object of knowledge is again two things. What is our goal in spiritual life? Two things: self realization and God realization. Self realization means knowing I am not this body, I am spirit, soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. God realization means understanding who is Krishna. So this is called Sambandha Jnana. That is the Jnam. So self realization means knowing the spirit, soul, Aham Brahmasmi, and also knowing the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. So these are the 6 things being explained. We have explained all of them. First, Krishna describes Kshetra, Kshetragya, and Jnanam. And then Krishna describes Jnana in a different way. Then Krishna describes about Gyam, or the object of knowledge, which is soul and super soul. Then Krishna explained Prakriti, Purusha, and their union. Now, in the last section, today we will discuss the vision of knowledge. So these are all about knowledge, analyzing the material creation, Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, Jnanam, Gayam, Kshetra, Kshetragya, all these are analysis, knowing things around us. By knowing all these things and their interactions, we will become Jnani, and that will help in devotional service. So now, after knowing all this, when one becomes Jnani in true sense, how that person looks in this in universe, what is the perspective of that person, how he looks this universe, the vision of this Jnani, the vision of knowledge, is explained in verse number 27 to 35. So verse number 27. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattam sthavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajya samyoga tadvidhi bharatarshava. So one thing you will observe here, in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explained about Sthita Prajna. Okay. If we go to the overview of the second chapter, you can see here. First chapter, Arjuna's arguments. Second chapter, Krishna is defeating the arguments of Arjuna by discussing the science of soul, about Sakam Karma Yoga, Niskam Karma Yoga. And then there is a huge portion dedicated to explaining the qualities of Sthita Prajna. In the second chapter, Arjuna asked this question: what is the characteristics of Sthita Prajna? How such a person talks, how such a person walks, how he sits, how he interacts with this world. And Krishna explained in detail. Krishna gave these verses like Dukkheshu anudvignamana Shukheshu Bigataspriha Vitaraga Bhaya Krota Sthita Dhirmuni Ruchate. In Shukha and Dukkha, in happiness, distress, Sthita Prajna is equipoised. And Sthita Prajna is not disturbed by any agitation. Apuryamana machala pratishtham samudramapa pravishanti yadvad tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sasanti apnoti na kama kami. So Asthita Prajna is always shanta, calm, and not agitated by the material desires. In all situations equipoised, sees everyone with equal vision. Like that. These are the characteristics of Sthita Prajna, and we will see those here. Sthita Prajna is also a person. All these things are basically pure devotees, the symptoms of pure devotees. Who is true Jnani? True Jnani is a pure devotee. If by cultivation of knowledge you are not becoming devotee, then that means you are not cultivating knowledge. Krishna says, Vahunam Janmanavanti Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. If your cultivation of knowledge is not leading to surrendering unto Krishna, then what is the utility of that knowledge? So, a true Jnani means pure devotee. Sthita Pragya, who has mastered Niskam Karma Yoga, is a pure devotee. So all the perfection points to one direction, and that is a pure devotee. So being a pure devotee is the perfection of life. Through jnana, through karma, through bhakti, through Ashtanga Yoga. When you attain perfection, then you are a pure devotee. So that's the concept. So here Krishna says, O chief of the Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Yes, so this is a vision of a Jnani. A Jnani will not see the world like a layman. Just like a Karmi will see a beautiful woman as an object of enjoyment. But a Jnani will see that no, this beautiful women and this dog and this that elephant, they are all same. It is one spirit soul contained within a field of activity. Deha. And according to karma, different people have got different bodies. So therefore, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shaphakecha Pandita Shamadarshina. Shamadarshi Pandit. So this is the vision of a knowledgeable person. A knowledgeable person will see everything as it is. He will not be illusioned by the illusory energy of the Lord. So that is the thing, that a Jnani knows that everything, whatever I am seeing, is combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. So in simple terms, what is the meaning? Whatever Jivatma we are seeing around us is one material body, and within that material body there is a spirit soul. So the field means the material body, and knower of the field means the spirit soul. So all the Jivatma, they can be analyzed like a spirit soul plus a material body. That's it. So that's the vision of a knowledgeable person. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtanam parameshwaram vinashatyeshva vinashatyeshva ya pashyati shapashyati. So one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees. So, ya pashyati sha pashyati. So, Krishna is telling only a knowledgeable person is able to see. Other laymen, whatever they are seeing, is actually not seeing. They are seeing useless things. Only a Jnani can see the real thing. Just like if you are given a ECG report, you cannot see anything about the heart. You will just see some lines here and there. But if the doctor is having the knowledge, doctor can see the actual thing. So similarly, suppose for a ECG report, the doctor actually sees. And if a layman sees the ECG report, it's not seeing. Similarly, Krishna says that ya pashyati sha pashyati. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishthanam parameshwaram. So in the previous verse, Krishna told that a Jnani sees in every material, every living entity, there is a spirit soul, and the spirit soul is covered by a material body. And Jnani also sees the super soul within that body. And Jnani also knows that this individual soul and the super soul both are not destroyed once the body is destroyed in death. So the soul and the super soul is not undergoing destruction. So this is the vision of knowledge. So a knowledgeable person will see the soul, the super soul within a body, material body, and he knows that the soul and super soul are never destroyed. But the body is destructible. So a Jnani knows the nature of the body. The body is anitya. It is a perishable body, and it will be destroyed in due course of time. But the Jnani also knows soul and super soul will never be destroyed. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram nahi nasti atmanam atmanam tato yati param gatim. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being, not only one material body, but one who can see the same super soul is present everywhere, does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. So, Krishna is gradually building on that knowledge. First, Krishna told that a jnani will see every living entity, every living beings in this world. A jnani will see them as a combination of soul and material body. Then Krishna told, not only soul, the jnani will also see the super soul within the body. Then Krishna told, jnani knows that the body is perishable, but the soul and super soul are not perishable. And then Krishna builds on that knowledge that a jnani will see the super soul within one body, but that's not the limit of his knowledge. Jnani will also see the super soul in every body. And Jnani will know that it is same Krishna, same super soul residing in every body, but the individual souls are different. So the Jnani is also having this knowledge. The super soul within all these body, they are connected. This is how when in the Guru Shishya relationships, super soul helps a lot. The super soul is within the body of the disciple also. Super soul is within the body of the Guru also. And super soul informs Guru about the condition of the disciple. So if the disciple is in danger, is in Maya, disciple cannot recognize that I am in Maya. Disciple will think I am doing fine. I do not need Guru's help. But super soul intimates Guru that your disciple is in need of you. And the Guru takes care of the disciple. So this is how the super soul, the same super soul is there within the bodies of the living entities. So one who has all this knowledge, he will not degrade himself by his mind. What is the meaning? Such a person, such a jnani, will not listen to the instructions of the mind. He will control the mind. Suppose just now I gave an example. Suppose for a layman, one sees a beautiful woman, mind can be agitated, and mind may provoke you that let me enjoy. You got some palatable dish which is not healthy, mind may provoke that I should enjoy that dish. But one who has this knowledge, proper knowledge about everything in this material world, he will not be provoked by mind. He can control the mind by this knowledge. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. And this degradation by mind is explained by Krishna previously also. In Bhagavad Gita 6.567, Krishna describes this. So let's recap that. Uddhare tatmanatmanam natmanam abashadaye tatmai vahatmano bandhu atmai varipuratmanaha. Mind is the friend of the soul also, and mind is the enemy of the soul also. Atmaiva atmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. One must deliver himself with the help of the mind and not degrade himself. So mind is an instrument. Using that instrument, we can elevate the soul or elevate our consciousness, and we can degrade our consciousness also. Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy that if you take too much milk products, you will have stomach upset. And if you take a transformation of that milk, yogurt, you can cure the stomach diseases. So the same thing, one form of that thing is causing you disease. Another form of the same thing is acting as medicine. Mind is like that. Knife is also like that. If doctor is using the knife, it can save life. If a murderer is using that knife, it can take life. So these instruments should be engaged in a positive way. So with the mind, we can elevate the consciousness also, and we can degrade the consciousness. If we listen to the demands of the mind, whatever the mind is asking, I just fulfill that desire. Then I become servant of the mind. Then the consciousness will degrade. But if I control the mind, taking instructions from the scriptures, taking jnana or knowledge from the scriptures, I control the mind. Mind gives you a proposal. A layman who is not having spiritual knowledge simply accepts this proposal. Oh, yes, this is a good idea. Let me go to the bar. Let me enjoy in this world. Let me do this. Let me do that. Mind is giving proposal. and the person is following that proposal. But a spiritual person who is having spiritual knowledge can analyze the proposal of the mind. Mind, you have given this proposal, but as per my knowledge, this is not a very good proposal. Such a person can control. So this is called using the mind. If you engage the mind in Krishna, if you engage the mind in scriptural study, your consciousness will elevate. If you engage the mind, uh, like, oh mind, you give me proposal of sense gratifications and I will fulfill. If you engage the mind like this, then it will degrade your consciousness. So this is how Krishna has already spoken here. So next Krishna says, Prakritaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvasha ya pasyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. Very important concept, but we have already discussed this. So one who can see what is happening actually. A layman will see that I am lifting a glass, I am walking. So layman will tell that you are doing. But a jnani will know that I am not doing anything. I means the spirit soul. The spirit soul is not doing anything. Spirit soul cannot do anything. Spirit soul is in a different dimension. Material body is in a different dimension. Spirit soul cannot do anything. So one who does not have this knowledge, he will think that person is working. He did this. These are wrong statements. We are not doing anything. We can only desire. So therefore, Vaishnavas always use this. That this is my desire to render this particular service for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. If Krishna wishes, I'll be able to do that. So understanding of a Vaishnava is like this. Vaishnava will never say, I will do this. This is Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasha Ahankara Bimudatma Karta Ahamiti Mannate. Only a person who is Ahankara Bimudatma means you are Vimuda, you became Vimuda by Ahankar. By your false ego, you lost all your intelligence. Such a person will say that I have done this, I am doing this. But actually, all the activities are performed by the body which is created of material nature. That means material nature is doing everything. All activities are performed by material nature. And self does nothing. Self does nothing. Means self means the soul. Soul is not doing any activity. But soul is desiring that activity. This is the only thing the soul does. So the soul is desiring the activity. Paramatma will sanction and material nature will execute. We have already discussed about Paramatma in this verses, previous verses. Upadrashta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramatma iti chapyukto dehesmin purusha param. What is the function of Paramatma? Upadrashta and anumanta. Anumanta means permitter. Paramatma is sanctioning everything. Material nature is the doer. And why material nature is doing? Because the soul is desiring. Okay. So this is actually a vision of a pure devotee or a knowledgeable person. Next. Yada bhuta prithak bhavam ekastha manupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampradyate tada. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. Try to understand this. When a sensible man, a jnani person, ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, now we have this discrimination. I am Indian, they are American, and they are Australian, like this. That's an animal, it's a human being. So a layman will see all these different bodies in different way. But a jnani will see, no, the animal and the human, there is not much difference. It is the same thing. The field of activities, the material body, and then there is a spirit soul. So a sensible man, a jnani person, ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere. So we can see that all different kinds of souls in different varieties, they are everywhere in different forms, but all of them are similar, and the same Paramatma is within everyone, and the same Paramatma is also there within every atom. He attains to the Brahman conception. So he attains to the Brahman conception means what? So Brahman, whenever you see this term Brahman, that means beyond the three modes of material nature. One who can see like this is beyond the three modes of material nature, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. He is in the Brahma Bhuta platform. This thing is addressed in many different terminologies like Brahman stage or Brahma Bhuta stage or Vasudev stage or Vishuddha Sattva stage, like that. Different names for the same thing. Next, Anaditvam Nirgunatvat Paramatmayam Avyayam Sharirasthopi Konteya Na Karoti Na Lipyate. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body of Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. So, although the soul is within the material body, the soul is not doing anything nor entangled by the material body. This means that the soul is in the different dimension. The body cannot cover the soul, actually. But due to the soul's desire, soul can only desire. Due to the desire of the soul to enjoy this material world, the soul is there with the material body. But the material body is not covering the soul, and the soul cannot do anything over the material body. Okay, so that is the vision of eternity. You can see that the soul is imperishable, first point, and the soul is transcendental. Transcendental means the soul is not made up of any matter of this world, earth, water, fire, air, ether. No. Transcendental, spiritual subject matter, spiritual components, Satchidananda. Eternal, the soul is never destroyed, and beyond the modes of nature. This is the properties of the soul. Despite contact with the material body, the soul is not doing anything, and the soul is not entangled. Yatha sarvagatam Shokshmyad Akasham Nopalipyate Sarvatro Vastito Dehe Tathatmanopalipyate. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, although situated in that body. So, this is a beautiful analogy. Just like the Akash is there, the sky is there, and it is all pervading, but it is not mixing with things. Suppose there are so many stars and planets in the sky. The sky is all pervading, but it is not mixing with all the star planets and everything. Similarly, the soul is situated in Brahman, and the soul is within the body physically. And due to the presence of the soul, soul means what? Consciousness. So within the body, in every part of the body, we have consciousness. Okay. So the soul or the consciousness is pervading all over the body. Still, it is in a different dimension. It is not mixing with the material body. That is the analogy given. Jatha prakashatyekam Krishnam lokamimam ravi kshetram kshetri tatha Krishnam prakashayati bharatam. O son of Bharata, another analogy Krishna gives. As the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity within one within the body illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Just by one sun, the entire sky is illuminated. Similarly, just by one soul, presence of one soul, the entire body is illuminated with consciousness. When that soul leaves, no part of the body is conscious anymore. So, due to the presence of that minute spiritual spark, part and parcel of Krishna, consciousness is pervading all over the body. And the last verse says, क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अंतरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूत प्रकृति मोक्षं च ये विदुर्यन्ति ते परम्. Those who see with the eyes of knowledge the difference between the body, means the kshetra, and the knower of the body, kshetrajnam, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain the supreme goal. So in this chapter, kshetra, kshetrajya is explained, their interactions, that is jnanam, and kshetrajya means the soul, super soul. They are also called gyam and prakriti purusha. All these concepts are discussed, and if we understand these concepts well, we will gain the jnana chakshu. By that jnana chakshu, or the eyes of knowledge, we will see the entire universe in from a different perspective. And if we see the universe from that perspective, we will not be entangled within this material. We will not be uh, in this material nature. Like, we will not be bound by the karma or illusory. We will not be illusioned by the Mahamaya if we have that Jnana Chakshu. So that will help us to attain the supreme goal. And we know what is the supreme goal is to become a pure devotee, 100% surrender unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So this is how this knowledge about Kshetra, Kshetrajya, Jnanam, Gyam, Purusha, Prakriti helps us to surrender unto Krishna and deepen our bhakti. So that's about chapter 13. We will continue chapter 14 in the next class. If you have any questions, we can take now. Okay. So see you again next week with chapter 14. Thank you all very much. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.